Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here today, and today we're going to be popping the door panel off of this 2018 Dodge Ram, and we're going to be swapping out some speakers. Let's show you how easy it is. All you need is a Torx. I'm just checking to see the size right here. It's probably a T20. So all you do is you come up and you'll see these little ones right here. You don't even put them on a driver, you don't need to. And remember this, when you're popping these out, you actually want to almost pull back as you do it. Don't put any pressure in. If you're pressing in, it will never unscrew. So lighter is better. As you do it, you'll see how it's separating? Just like that. And then once you get out to a certain point, you can wiggle this out. From here, with your nails or a flat blade, you can go ahead and pop that piece out. And you're gonna have those all the way around the trim of your door. So basically go around the entire trim of the door, and again, light as you can, just put them in and do exactly as I'm doing by unscrewing them as lightly as possible. And then some people will try this. Yeah, sometimes it'll grip on the last thread and you can wiggle them out, but I usually just pop the whole screw out like I said, and again, nail around the other side, wiggle and pop out just like that. I'll let you quickly do that. I'm not going to show you me doing that to all of them, but just do that around the whole trim. So now that we've got all those pieces around the edges out, let's go ahead and we'll just slip a hook pick in here, and it should, if you slip it in here, just pop. Just like that. Now that that came out, take a Phillips head, pop out this Phillips screw. So we're going to pop out this piece right here. You'll see my fingers are around the edge right here. Just grab it. That's what this is meant for. You can literally just grab it with your fingers and it pops forwards. So from right here, plastic panel popper, you can just do that. And now that's out of the way. Once you have that out, you can grab your plastic panel popper. Again, I suggest getting these. They're super cheap. Get them from Princess Auto or wherever you want. And then you'll have this. How you release this clip, just press and pull down. Use your second hand that I'm using to hold the camera, but all you do is you can press that clip and pull the connector out. Last but not least, grab your door, lift up and off, and we have access to our speaker and everything else in the door. Let me pull that speaker out and I will tell you wiring colors and all that other fun stuff. Once you pop out those 5mm screws, go ahead, slide this out. You'll see our tiny little magnet on this speaker, and then all you do is again compression clip, slide out. So I trim this out and it's still not going to be, it's still off by really seldom amount, but that's still enough that I'm going to use spacers. I'm going to give you the part number for those spacers and show you. The other thing I'm going to do is quickly do this. This is another trim popping tool, and you just use that, and what you can do is pop this forward, and now that that's free, we can solder onto this without too much problems. And so the next thing I'll do is I'll look up the wiring colors, but let's show you those spacers first. So the spacers are these, and this is the part number. It is 826902. Now what that spacer looks like when it's out is this. Now we might have to get some longer screws because chances are those screws are not going to dig in enough. So you're going to want to get a bit longer screws. Sometimes the speakers come with it. If these speakers don't come with it, don't worry. We'll work with that. What's really cool though is we have this right here, which is going to help hold your spacer as you're putting the speaker on. So we'll be able to line it up and it'll sit just on top of those, just like that. Now before we do that, let's solder this on so we can stick this back in here, because that gets pinched underneath here in this spot right here. If you want the pigtails, this is what they look like. They are available through Metra. I don't know if that's going to focus for us, so I'll read out the part number. Metra 726514. Get them all off Amazon for about 20 bucks, and they already have the spades attached. So if you're buying new speakers, they might be worth just buying these, and then you don't have to solder or do anything. It just converts right to your new speaker. Now, if you're like me and you like to just put on the spaded connectors that come with it, the wire, when you're looking at the back of the connector, this one right here is your negative. So in this case, it would be gray-yellow. So on all your speakers, look at the connector just like this. So it's forward, and the wire on this side is going to be your negative. So I would just cut this, solder the negative on, cut this, put the positive onto here. So again, just going by that clip and what I said before, I've soldered it on, put some heat shrink, put even some colored heat shrink so I know which is which on here. And then I can go ahead and aim this right here, sink it in. And after you sink that back in, now we can technically slip this onto our speaker and go from there. So as you can see, we have our ring on. Make sure you pass your wires through the ring and then slip them on. Red is positive, obviously. Usually it's the smallest clip is the negative. Make sure we do this. And then we're gonna just slide this into the window area right here and put this on. Now, just if you want to, you can actually bundle that up. I'll leave it up to you. Just see how much it's gonna interfere with the window. So now that we've gone ahead, we've got that semi lined up here. We now need to make sure we get into the plastic of the door. So we just line this up here, line up our screws, and once we do that, we're just going to do this. Trick for you, always put the magnet to the base. So if the drill kicks, it kicks like this, and you don't kick, because if you go like this, the problem is if it kicks, you're gonna tear your cone. So just make sure you do this. There we go. So now that we've got one screw in, we can go ahead. We'll start at the bottom. I always like to do diagonal. Go ahead, put this. And again, I like to veer them in just a little bit so I know it'll grip the plastic. Just like that. So now that we've got that, this one we can still get in here. But again, I'm not using the same silver screws, and the reason why those ones will not be long enough, these ones actually came with these kickers. If yours didn't come with screws, you might need some longer screws. There we go. Make sure, yeah, it's nice, it's clean, it's holding on. You could do 3. I always just put in all 4. First thing I want to note, look how many hooks there are on here. You have to line all of them up, which is fun. This is even a hook which hooks in right here. So this is a good testing measure. Make sure this is still hanging right here, not in some awkward spot where you can't reach it, because you're gonna have to hook this on. So the first thing you need to do is lift this up. And then we need to line that up in the hole. Which apparently, there we go. And then we just try, make sure everything is still lining up partially. I like to first get it started. Do that. And then line up all hooks. Can be fun. There. Yeah. So that's lined up. That's lined up. There. Once, oh, this one's not quite. There we go. That one's on. See how that isn't seated 100 there. That one's on. There. Hole is lined up here, and hole is lined up there. I can stretch it, perfect. So, next thing you can do, before you even pop all these screws in, grab all these little black pieces right here, and just start sliding them in, because before you even put the screws in, you should be able to do this. As the Symphony of Dogs congratulates you. So you can hear my whole neighborhood going off. Go over here first. There we go. So now that we've got the top ones in there, we can go ahead and we'll see. Do I need to? Nope, you can just slide them in. Again, if you want to, you can always hand thread those in, or just do as I just did and sink them in like that with your thumb. It does wreck the threads over time, so you should technically hand thread them in, but I'll let you decide. It all depends if you want problems for future you. So yeah, just go ahead and pop them all the way in around the edge, and then we'll take care of this clip. So just a note, for the 2 clips here, if you use those spacers, it's gonna be tight fitting around this. So if you have speakers with big excursion, these ones are definitely not big excursion, so I know I'm fine, because the grill that comes with them would fit just as tight as this. So I'm not worried. But if you have, maybe you bought some really expensive speakers and they have a lot of excursion, you could have problems, so you might have to actually trim this out along here and mount your speaker on the outside of the door panel. And the reason why you would have to do that is if, once again, you're going to have issues with clearance. With me, I know these speakers aren't going to bang against the door, so it's all good. So what I did is I just simply pulled down on the panel and I was able to sink them in. You will have to manipulate the door panel to make it work, but you can make it work. The other, of course, option is making sure you get slimmer speakers and making sure the magnets aren't going to bang against the door, so you don't need spacers. And again, what I will do at the end of this video is I'll measure that speaker and tell you the depth of it. So that way you know the distance you have. So again, this is all done. Let's quickly go ahead, slide our controls on, which is as simple as making sure, okay, that slides in there like that. Tab forward, make sure this is all good. Yep. This just sinks back in. And we just make it look factory once more. There's those two little clips that sit on an angle, so make sure those seat on an angle, and then squish it in, slide this down, put the Phillips screw back in here, and put that little cover door back on. And then for up here, pretty darn easy. Go ahead and then clean it off. You had dirty floor mats. That's all there is to it. Let's show you a back door. Literally, it's the exact same thing as the front door. Pop this one out, it's a smaller button, but just get your panel popper, do all that we did up front to this door. Only thing different is this piece, and again, you're just gonna grab it right here and do that. Go ahead, grab your door, lift up, and take it off. Voila, it's literally the exact same scenario. Again, it makes it really easy once you know that the first connector, when you line them both up, yellow, gray, or gray, yellow, whatever you want to say, is your negative. Now we know dark green, gray is going to be our negative, and light green, gray is going to be our positive when we line up these clips. And again, that's with the tab down. So put your tab down, take a look, and that's how you know for sure. Go ahead and solder them up. So unlike the front, these ones had these two pieces up here. So what I ended up doing is trimming this out so this will sit just in here and sit flat just like that. And it kind of clips in. So like I said, just trim this with either a knife, oscillating tool, or take a pair of pliers, and you can just cut and break just enough out so that way you can put this right here. If you're worried about sound pressure leak, which you really shouldn't be, you could throw some caulking or throw electrical tape or duct tape around right here, and that'll seal the hole if you're worried about it. Or what you can do is, of course, fill this full of silicone and whatever you want to do, but I wouldn't be worried about it. Wire color is the exact same, except we're dealing with green instead of gray. So again, the yellow is negative once again, and the purple is the positive. The wire on this side of the clip with the duct tab down is the negative. So now when we take this one, which is from the rear, funny enough, that one, the yellow green, is actually the positive in the rear, and how we know that is that's in this side of the clip, which is right here. So just keep in mind, don't just go by wire color because it could confuse you. Make sure you're going by that clip. And again, in the rear passenger door, that yellow green or green yellow, and it's like a faded yellow, that one is actually the positive, not the negative in the rear. Well, we tested the speakers, all work fine. That's how you quickly swap out the speakers on a Dodge Ram 2018. Thanks again for watching. Press the like if it helped you out, and subscribe for more.